Hey, welcome to Chatter Machine. I'm Kat.
And I'm Adam.
And every now and again we talk about pro wrestling.
Yep, we're back. And we're very tired.
We are very tired.
Because some billionaire who doesn't have to get up early on Monday schedules his action figure playtime for Sunday evening and runs them past midnight.
Yeah.
And I'm not really that mad about it. I'm just tired.
I'm tired. I'm not going to be Sean Ross Sapp here and say that the pay-per-views are too long. They're not, but I really wish they started earlier than 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I need more than 4 hours of sleep. Thank you.
It's not only rough, it makes the main event a little bit, affects how you feel about it when you're like, I'm really tired.
Oh, we'll get there.
It's hard to pay attention. Yeah, but that's just true in general.
So last time we talked to you guys, it was a little bit after Revolution, a couple weeks ago, and now Dynasty just happened. It feels like they happened one right after the other.
Yeah, been a busy month in general anyway, so...
Yeah. I'm still really enjoying making this podcast with you, but life gets in the way sometimes, and that's just how it is. So we're going to do our best to keep it going.
Yeah.
And, it's just maybe not going to be super regular, but we're going to do our best. So let's talk about Dynasty. I think what we can do, since we obviously didn't really talk about the build, let's go through and talk about how we felt about the matches, and also we can do a little evaluation after the fact of was there a build? How do we feel about the build? And then kind of, do we think this is going somewhere? It's not always clear if the matches, even in a pay-per-view, if they're leading to something bigger, or, how do they fit into the grand arc of 2026 AEW, right?
Yeah.
So let's get started. Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, so we had I thought a pretty good 0 hour.
0 hour fucked, actually.
Yeah. Every one of those, almost every one of those matches I was really excited about.
All the ones we knew about.
All the ones we knew about, I was really looking forward
and better than expected, I would say.
Yeah. So they crammed not all, but most of the women's wrestling into the 0 hour.
Yeah, I'm of a couple minds about that. I obviously don't like looking at a pay-per-view card and seeing one women's match, and I do think that it shoehorns some stuff into the order of the card that maybe would have been better if it was broken up better.
Yeah.
But 0 hour, paradoxically, just being full of women being awesome, I can't really complain. 0 hour, it's not the pay-per-view, but it is important.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for the confidence of these are going to be great matches that are going to make people want to buy the pay-per-view if that's the the goal.
And then again, it's if you pack your 0 hour with awesome women's matches and then you don't book them for the actual card, well, what are you? How does that work?
Yeah. So Alex Windsor, who did that Pokemon yell in the middle of the match at least once.
Because that's what she does.
It's great.
As a Pokemon.
Defeated Marina Shafir, but it was a great match.
They both looked awesome. They both looked fantastic. I'm always surprised when I see Marina with her hair flying free.
Oh, yeah.
Because it just seems so impractical.
Yeah.
But their styles looked good. They were hitting real hard. They both looked probably better than I've ever seen them in the ring, or as good as I've ever seen them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I came out of this feeling Marina is feeling very much heck, she could challenge for the world title, or she could challenge for one of the belts. Yep. And I think that is a thing.
She's looking believable.
Maybe in the past, maybe a long time ago, but in the past was not maybe feeling that way.
My understanding from before our time with AEW is that her initial introduction was kind of ridiculous and not very compelling, and it seems like she's come a really long way in terms of her presentation and her in-ring style. So, and then Windsor, we know a little bit from out and about. We've seen her a bunch, I would say. Not so much in singles matches. I really enjoyed this match. I thought Marina, I had predicted Marina to win.
Me too.
Me too. Here's something about predictions, right? I try to be very clear because I just have to pick a strategy, right? There are all kinds of viable strategies for predicting things in matches. I think it's fine if people predict the way they want things to go. I think it's fine if people say, oh, this is what I want, but this is what I think will happen. I like to try to pretend it's like I'm doing the puzzle You know, I like to get in the mind of like, well, what does it mean if this happens? You know, it's like very strategic. So then when I make my predictions, I always go like based on what I think would happen for the future. And so I don't know. Like, I wasn't really sure about this one. There's something to be said for just letting loose and having fun and not doing that.
Yeah, I kind of am a little more vibes based, but I also, you know, I think I have thoughts now and then about where I think things may or may not go. Some things are kind of feel a little obvious maybe sometimes. But I don't really know why I thought Marina would win. I couldn't really tell you. It was just like, I think that's probably what's going to happen. And it wasn't. This is 0 hour match. To talk to the build, this is kind of hooked into like existing other things. Like we had a match. Well, we have what's going on with Death Riders and Ospreay, and Windsor and Shafir are like proxy fighting about that.
Yes, which is unfortunate in a way. I agree with our pals over at Tunnel Talk that it is kind of unfortunate that now that Ospreay's back, Windsor is like linked directly in with him in a way that the other women talent who are married or otherwise associated with men on the roster are not in kayfabe associated with them. And I think that doesn't really benefit her. That said, the other thing here, without Ospreay, it's like, well, we're building up the Brawling Birds, right? This is kind of put together this tag team pretty quickly, and they want to build them into something big for All In. Yeah. Maybe not winning the title necessarily, but like, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe. But like, at least having some big splashy match in London. Yeah. Right?
So, I thought it was interesting that the official AEW recap finishes this match noting, while Windsor celebrated, Shafir had a smile on her face, much like she did last night when Jamie Hayter pinned her in a tag team match.
I love Marina Shafir getting beat with like a shit-eating grin on her face. Yeah, I wonder if I mean, since it was written in the recap, I assume that's supposed to be like explained somehow, or like it's going to be a thing, but I love it. I don't care. It's great.
I mean, regardless of anything, I just like the way that it fits in with the general Death Riders ethos and her like do better thing. She's kind of, in a way, you can just read it as like, hell yeah, you beat me, good job. You know, I don't know.
And she's toned down the do better a bit, which is interesting. I kind of like do better slap across the
yeah, it's a nice thing. I like it. Yeah,
I kind of like it. But anyway,
all right.
So moving along, we got this like earlier backstage interview thing with Willow looking absolutely adorable, and Renee Paquette, and then Willow gets jumped.
Blindsided.
And I was kind of like, who is this?
Yeah, I thought I was supposed to recognize the person. I was like, is that I was for a second I was afraid it was Rhonda again, and
No. I mean I was like, oh, this is like a familiar looking person, and I had heard of Kamille, but I'd never seen her in anything for any reason, and I don't give a fuck about American Gladiators or know who's on it, so I see the like Stars and Stripes outfit and I'm just like, oh, I don't like you.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess in the classic, like, oh, you're being worked by the heel thing, is like, okay.
Yeah, fine.
Whatever.
Once again, we have the monkey's paw of like, we want more women, but we want women who haven't publicly done and defended shitty things. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was super hyped, or at least anybody on my Blue Sky timeline seemed super pumped to see Kamille. Maybe there's a part of the universe that was like, fuck yeah, Camille's back.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of skeets that are like, oh, good to see her back, but for the most part it feels like, and like at the time I thought I saw some posts from people who were there being like, oh, no pop from the crowd. Like, kind of felt like maybe a lot of people were also kind of like, who is this?
Yeah.
But
it's hard. I mean, crowd pops are tricky.
Yeah.
It does seem like this is clearly, much like the Ronda Rousey situation, this seems like it's linked to like a co-promotion, a cross-promotion with American Gladiators, I guess. But yeah, also she's back. So she had a squash match against Big Ann, who I guess is a local...
Love that.
I love that a local talent would just be surprised you're in the pay-per-view, effectively.
I love that.
And I think Big Ann is such a fun wrestler name.
Yeah.
And she's big, so Tony Khan signed her.
And I guess the end result of that is we're going to get a match on next Dynamite, I think.
Yeah.
But where
tomorrow, right? No. What's today? Today's
what
Monday.
Is today?
I don't know what time
could be tomorrow.
is. Okay, Time Cop arrested me. And Tony Khan, you're fucking with me.
He is. So Willow's going to defend
we're recording on Monday evening. So
yes,
this
for the record.
Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, Willow will be defending the TBS belt against Kamille.
Which, fine. I'm holding out opinion. You know, people come back, they come and go, whatever. I do like this thing where Willow is continuing to defend the TBS with like the open challenge. She had the match against Hikaru Shida, which was fun. She had the match with Queen Aminata.
Hikaru Shida and Queen Aminata, talk about return pops for both of them.
Yeah.
How exciting.
Yep.
So exciting. And then Kamille is like, oh, it's a wet fart.
Yeah.
But here we are. That's what's next for Willow, I guess. Obviously, there wasn't really a build to this, but...
Yeah. That's a future build.
And we had a little bit of a build for the Natty, the AEW National Championship match with Jungle Jack Perry defending against Mark Davis. I actually don't remember why Mark Davis was the challenger here. I think that was announced kind of last minute, wasn't it?
Maybe. I don't quite remember either. So I was reading some of the recap stuff really quick, and like I felt like this build was kind of messy. I mean, fine, it's just to some degree, it's quote unquote just for a national championship defense on 0 hour. So you don't need a big storyline, but
no,
there was the stuff with Perry joining with Darby and Brody and this kind of
this
against
very
the
messy,
DCF kind of thing that's been going on.
Very messy trio situation.
Yeah, and so
set
and then
me on fire.
Yeah. And the go home
serious.
trios match, I guess Perry and Davis had a lot of physicality, and so then they had this match, and
it was great.
It was great. I really had a blast watching this. Davis is a beast, and they worked well together.
They really did. Yeah. It was one of those things where it was like, fuck, how do you make it believable for Jack Perry to not die?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
what was it? Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. I think Nigel made a sort of wordplay joke on that, and then Tony, like 30 seconds later, was like, "Oh, I get it.
Good one.
Oh, good one."
Oh, Tony. Tony, you're killing me.
Yeah, I did like Perry's what do you call it, the photo for the match card where he's like biting the belt. Like, that's fun.
So your render with the belt is that you're biting it. Okay,
yeah, that's great.
He's a bitey boy.
Yeah,
it's his brand.
But I feel like it would have been a big surprise if Mark won this, and I picked Perry and he won. So
yeah, I mean, the national belt is the kind of thing that he should just be defending a lot, and I don't know if this like feud with the DCF continues, or if hopefully we get some nice fresh challenges too.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more of him, as with Ricochet or any of these sorts of things. I would love to see them actually do the like getting to defend it at other promotions thing as well. So
yes.
All right.
I almost was like, was that it for 0 hour? Oh. And then I was like, no, the best fucking part of 0 hour was the women's tag team championship.
Yes.
Which again, I was kind of like there's a part of me that's like, why is the women's tag team championship on the 0 hour? But then because of the men's trios, well, we'll get to the men's trios, but when the men's trios were put on the main card, it's like, well, it's fine.
Yeah. And I think it's also like at the moment, it would have made a lot of sense also to have a big time women's tag belt defense on the main card, but they kind of just won them, and it is kind of like, okay, well, who are the challengers? Have we built to that? Not really. So
right. And so this could have been squashy, and I'm so glad it wasn't.
Yes.
Like, it really wasn't a throwaway match. I was afraid
it was going to be like a 3-minute match or something.
I had a feeling that Hyan and Maya World would have a chance to show out. I don't know that I thought they would get the chance to show out quite as much as they did. They looked fucking awesome. I don't understand. People were like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be like, people on the internet, ooh, I'm trying really hard not to do that, but I saw a few people like complaining that it wasn't good somehow for Hyan and Maya World to be on 0 hour, and I'm like, are you fucking crazy? They're on national. It's better for them even than being on the pay-per-view. They're on national television.
Yeah, and like, YouTube, and like
and they're looking fucking awesome.
Yeah.
In this case,
don't get it.
In this case, it's like, no, this is actually the best thing. This is like, this shows how much Tony Khan believes in them, and I think
they've been. I mean, we're behind on Ring of Honor, and we're probably not going to talk about it because of that.
No, we'll get to where Ring of Honor at some point again, but
where we have been, they're fucking killing it, and like they could just only be on Ring of Honor putting them in 0 hour against the current belt holders is fucking amazing.
And it shows me somewhat that Athena has to be somewhat of like a trusted voice kind of whispering in TK's ear with this. Like, I don't know. I feel like Athena's love for Maya in particular is so clear watching Ring of Honor, and like there's so much support there, and I just hope that she is that influential when it comes to suggesting people and helping book even. But
regardless, also like her own faith in them is just like correct. They're really good. They pulled off some moves that blew my mind. They have that. I don't know how to describe it, so I just jotted down tag team magic. But like, there's a feel you get with some tag teams. It's like, oh yeah, you're a team.
Yeah.
And even like some people that get put together that do a good. Like, I loved Brody and Bandito.
You're wearing their shirt right now.
I am literally wearing their shirt right now, and they did a good job of like putting the effort in to do like tag team stuff. But like, there's something with some people or some teams that I just feel is like, oh, that's kind of next level. You guys are really good at this.
Yeah.
Bustin' in the Brain do that.
Yep.
Maya World and Hyan, I feel kind of have that.
I don't know how long they've been together as a tag team, or if they were kind of put together for this, but
yeah, I have no idea.
Either way, they're killing it.
The talent and chemistry is there for it.
And this match went like right around a little over 10 minutes, I think. So
something like that.
Pretty damn good considering.
Yeah.
And not that I'm like, oh, I'm grateful for crumbs, you know,
well,
which
yeah.
like is always kind of a challenge when you love women's wrestling and AEW. But I think this was a fucking win.
Yep.
Everybody in the ring looked great.
And we've been talking
Maya
about
was
Hyan
really the
and
star.
Maya World, and I do love them, but I will, of course, Divine Dominion also looked fucking great with the gear they came out in, and like, yeah, just duh, goes without saying.
Their pay-per-view gear in particular is amazing.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, so.
So, and then, so I had picked Divine Dominion, and,
I
obviously.
think everybody picked Divine Dominion.
kind of an easy
that's
pick.
Fine.
Imagine. Anyway, and then I think because I thought that match maybe was going to be short, I was wondering, are they going to do like start the gauntlet and go into the pay-per-view like they've done a couple
I'm glad they gave
times.
us a little break
Me
from
too.
I don't want to say cold open, it's like a hot open, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm glad they gave us a little break from that, because I need a moment to gather myself.
Yeah, well, and it's just especially in this particular context, we're like, okay, we're trying this on my AEW, and like it's my first time watching something on my AEW. I don't know how it works. They had the 0 hour there, and then they had the pay-per-view.
Right.
So like, I also need a minute to like switch
transfer from the one to the other.
Yeah, and because they don't have a Roku app yet, it's like, oh, I'm doing it on my computer with each. It's all
Tony
complicated.
Khan, if you're listening,
Tony
Khan, get the fucking Roku app, please.
Yeah, but now I know that it looks like the pay-per-view also just started with the 0 hour, so didn't have to do that
for next time. Good to know. I wonder how much feedback, like if there's been a lot of negative feedback from Triller users or HBO Max or whatever, what have you, people who have to switch, and then it's like in the middle of, like when I've seen it happen live, they clearly kind of pause the action and they've got the pyro going and stuff, but you don't even want to miss the pyro.
Yeah.
So I wonder. And also, like, just don't do it every time.
Yeah.
So mix it up.
Yeah.
And I think that was fine. That was a welcome bathroom break opportunity for me.
Yeah. Plus, the opening match was fucking great. Fucking great way to start.
One of the best of the night, for sure.
Young Bucks, Okada and Takeshita, just
oh my god,
chef's kiss in all respects for me.
Just a banger, a certified banger. And I'm not.
It slapped.
Truly an incredible match.
Yeah. I mean, just like everything, it hit the notes of like great wrestling. Everything was done. Like everybody was in the right place at the right time, fully smooth. So like physically beautiful and physically perfect. And then also the added drama of like Okada and Takeshita, are they going to play well together? The agreement kind of for Takeshita to get his challenge Okada kind of depends on him playing along.
It gave me so much more than I expected.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the Bucks are not putting on a bad match. The Bucks are going to make anything look great and fun. Okada and Takeshita have had like a Cold War for quite a while. And I wasn't necessarily expecting this to be the moment where it really got hot.
Yeah. Yeah. I was expecting just sort of a rehash of like the last time they had to tag together, and it kind of like they
they're not really cooperating,
and
they're kind of like blowing each other off, and like the tension is rising, but not the fist fight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And also when they're starting to square off and that perfectly positioned fan is holding up the kiss sign.
Yes.
And it's just perfectly framed between them on camera. Like,
I love that fan.
You can't plan that shit. It was perfect.
It was perfect. I mean, that sign was well used all night long, but especially here.
That fan was like, I picked the perfect seat for my kiss sign.
Yeah.
I'm going to be right across from the hard cam and right in the middle.
They were on a mission.
My letters are big and I'm ready.
It was perfect. Yeah, and I didn't and we got something better than I expected. It wasn't just like, oh, Okada's kind of being a troll again and Takeshita's upset with him.
Trolling Takeshita and pissing him off.
We got progression.
Which is very funny. Don't get me, I'm not complaining.
It's great.
It's very, very funny. But instead we get effectively the Takeshita face turn that we've all been looking for.
Yeah.
And I'm told, it's come to my attention that this was actually the moment where Takeshita was like gonna stop, I think it was Nick, from attacking Okada, and then stopped himself and was like, go ahead.
Yeah.
That moment actually was a reference to an earlier thing, not with Takeshita, but I think also with the Bucks and Hangman, I want to say, which is not, I'm not familiar with that, but I appreciate that there are people out there who see the reference and appreciate it and enjoy it.
That's cool.
I like that.
That's cool.
A little fan service.
So super glad to have some progression there and some movement with Takeshita. And
as far as the build for this match was not about the Bucks at all, really.
No, not really.
This match was purely on the shoulders of like Okada Takeshita drama. It was everything I wanted it to be and more. Yeah. I had picked the Bucks before the match, just on the ever perfect principle that tag teams need to love each other in order to be successful.
Right.
And then in the middle of the match, I was like, shit, wait. I was racking my brain thinking about the Don Callis telling Takeshita that if he cooperates with Okada, he'll get the international title shot at Double or Nothing, which I am very excited that we're going to get to see.
That's going to be great.
But in the middle of the match, I was like, wait, did that mean they have to win it? Like in the match against the Bucks? I was like, wait, did he just have to be in it, or do they have to succeed?
Right.
Like,
I was thinking even like, well, maybe they don't have to succeed, but like if they don't cooperate,
if he like betrays Okada in the ring but I also took it as Takeshita, even if that were true, or even if whatever we see next with Don shows that it is true, he's going to try to like rescind that stip or that bribe, if you will.
Yeah.
I like to see it as Takeshita being like, you know what, fuck you, I don't need you to tell me what matches I can get in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make Okada so mad that he'll have to challenge me.
Yeah, that would be a good way to go.
It was great.
And I do like that they've sort of been paving the way for this also by Okada actually doing defenses for the past month or so. Because he, for the longest time, wasn't even defending.
Yeah, he really wasn't defending it, and now he's done a few
he's done a few,
have been quite fun.
Yeah, so it paves that road. What was
the last one he did? Oh, Myron Reed.
Yeah.
Great match.
Yeah, great match.
Yeah.
And he had I don't remember if there was something else in the middle, but he had that like surprise defense against AR Fox on
Yes,
Ring of
that
Honor,
was great fun.
Which was great.
Oh, and just to shout out on Collision the previous night, how the Bucks, obviously not really exactly as a build for Dynasty, other than they were fighting the DCF, but the fucking El Clone Hechicero tag team. I need that in my veins.
Yeah.
I need that.
They work well together.
They certainly do. Yeah. They're both absolute freaks in terms of like unexpected moves, things you've never seen before. I love them both dearly. And I need more of that, please. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So then we got
the non-title.
The non-title
situation.
Not really anything other than he's back. Back in action.
Jericho and Ricochet, who made the list. Which delighted me.
I did love that.
I was very tickled.
Even though I've never watched any of that era or anything about it, I've heard it before. And
I wasn't watching during that era of Jericho. I mean, I remember Chris Jericho when I was watching wrestling 20-something,
baby.
25 years ago.
When all of us were babies.
Yeah. We were all babies.
Yeah.
That bit was not familiar to me except in memes and stuff, but it always struck me as being very funny. Like, totally nonsensical.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best part, of course, is the reaction
Yeah.
of the person who has just made the list.
I mean,
like,
I've seen the clip a couple of times, a clip a couple of times of Jericho talking about that specifically, and sort of I think it was the New Day, one of the New Day guys, the first one that he did it to, and just telling him like, you got to sell it like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you, and you
he
can't
sold
believe
it like
and he did, and that's
sells
what
a
Ricochet
DDT.
did too.
Yeah.
Ricochet and the Demand, they were all like, what? You can't do this.
Not me.
You know, like, not the list.
It's so stupid, and I love it, and I love that he's doing it. I don't know, he's on his little Era's retirement tour, I guess
so, yeah.
Which is great.
So that was
we all expected him to win.
I expected him to win, yeah.
I don't think anybody expected him to put over Ricochet.
Yeah.
And it was delightful. I mean, of course, Ricochet is usually very fast moving, and Chris Jericho, being ancient,
yeah,
is not.
They managed to avoid like actual elder abuse, but I was thinking about it now and then.
Hard bumps. There was one moment where like you could kind of see, well, it was where the commentary was marveling at his like red back from just taking a back bump. But when you saw it, it was like his pants are so low slung that you could see kind of the left side of his sacrum was just going to be like so bruised today.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like later as the match progressed, also like it just looked like there was a nasty big bruise developing on his whole lower back, but that might have just been lighting or something.
Yeah,
anyway,
he's probably hurting real bad right now. But I thought that was really fun and surprising, and I'm very interested to see where he takes whatever this arc is.
Yeah, I was entertained as well, and I just enjoyed the surprise of it, and it helped that it wasn't really for anything. It helped that it was just like, we're having fun.
If anything, the match was a little long.
Yeah,
but enjoyable nonetheless.
Yeah. So yeah, that was also my first pick swerve of the night, of just like, oh well, I was wrong about that.
I'm pretty sure I was wrong. We were wrong right out the gate with Windsor. So
you're right.
You're right. Like, here we go. Time to be wrong. You know what? I like making picks, and I like being wrong.
Yep. Yeah.
So
I think we were both right about this next one, though.
We definitely were. Although for some reason, like a lot of my Blue Sky timeline didn't seem to think that Darby was going to beat Andrade.
Yeah, I find that weird.
I was like, not that I'm so clever, but are we watching the same program?
I get that Andrade has returned with a bang and been presented as a super strong contender.
Yes, he was pushed right into the title scene immediately, and he's been great.
So I can kind of understand to some degree some people thinking, oh well, maybe they're
But if you've been watching over the past few weeks, the Darby promos, the tension is escalating.
Yeah.
The push is escalating. And Andrade hasn't had that. Yeah. So
he has been presented as very strong, but the purpose for that is then you put other people against him and say, look how strong they are. You know, it's
right.
Yeah.
And I do hope that Andrade stays in that title picture and is not like cooled off as a result of this, or kind of I don't want him on the back burner. I don't think he'll be on the back.
I'm happy he's around. He's great to watch. He's got charisma. He's got So
I wasn't sure.
Agree.
I wasn't quite sure. I had a feeling this match was going to be good, but I've been a little bit disillusioned. Like I've been a little bit peeved with this Darby title push all of a sudden. We've talked about this a bit already on the pod, and we talk about Darby a lot.
We do. I mean, I think he's the kind, his character on the surface is the kind of thing that like maybe even just young Adam would have been like, oh, I'm interested in that, or I'm interested in someone who's got like a dark take or has, I don't know, whatever. But fundamentally, I've just been sort of bored with his never-ending feud with Death Rider stuff, and I'm not that into like just pure Daredevil stunt-based stuff.
Yeah.
So I've wanted like a change, or else, you know, otherwise I'm just like,
give us something. Yeah. Give us something to go on.
Like I've said before, I started to realize, he's just not for me, which is fine, and he may, whatever. But there has been a shift recently, and as much as I don't really get, like, I don't see him as actually like going for the title and getting it anytime soon. this out of the blue, I need the title. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Talk to your therapist
Is still
about
kind
that.
of
Like,
empty.
You're not
and
convincing me that that you believe you need the title.
Yeah, but I appreciate the effort at a little bit of a change. I appreciate that. And the match was very good. And I would like to see,
great.
Personally, I will be more interested in not just sort of tuning out of a Darby match if it is more like this and less like just stunt spots.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
that's all.
To be fair, so there were a couple things going on with this match. For one thing, Darby was wrestling more than he usually does.
Mm-hmm.
And for another, even though he was doing some crazy shit, Andrade was matching his freak.
Yeah.
So he was bumping just as hard.
Yeah.
And they had really good chemistry together. It was not like
bumping just as hard without also being like, I'll also do crazy stunts. I'm a crazy stunt guy, you know.
There was nothing that felt like unnecessary.
Yeah.
If I recall.
Yeah.
There was nothing that felt like, oh, he's just doing it for the spot.
Yeah.
And Andrade was bumping just as hard. They were working really well together. It was nobody got like the part of like so many Darby matches where he's just getting dragged all over and he's like drooling or whatever. Yeah. I'm just like, no. And then he fucking does a coffin drop and rolls the guy up and it's over. Like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
But this was not that. This was great.
This was almost adjacent to what I asked for online, which is have him do more lucha stuff. So it's almost
Pretty
that.
Much.
Put him with a Mexican wrestler. Put him with, let's do that.
Get him somebody who can match like the speed, the crazy, all of that.
Yeah.
Get him get him grappy and also aerial.
Yeah.
You know, I really enjoyed this match. It was kind of the surprise for me in terms of my enjoyment.
Yeah, I was hoping it would be fun and good, and it really was. There's a part of the build that I just sort of completely forgot about.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the build.
Which is this
what was the build?
Well, there's this whole thing where Darby, he earned his position by winning a match with Roosh.
Which again, what? Why?
I don't know. Whatever. Anyone who wants to have a shot at the title kind of just needs to say, I need a shot at the title, and then get a match to sort of prove that they earn it or whatever.
Yeah,
so whatever. That's
title,
what happened.
Who's a title contender logic is quite mysterious.
It is literally just a dartboard in the back. But Darby called out MJF and like Don Callis said, basically it's like official that MJF paid off Don Callis to try to like keep Darby from having a shot or something. Like he had to beat a member of the Don Callis family.
Afraid?
And there was this I did like the promo where Don is like talking about this deal and then is like, so it's going to be Andrade, and Andrade is like, what, me? Remember that?
And it was very funny because I kind of had the impression that it was like Andrade's response to Don felt like, well, I don't want to fight him. He's like a good guy.
Yeah, it did
it felt a little facey.
Yeah.
And of course, like Andrade kind of making a face turn has been a thing that we've all been talking about over the weeks and months.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had a very respectful handshake at the end of this match.
They did.
Very cute.
So I like all the stuff that happened here. I also felt the build was a little messy, and all the things with Darby are a little bit messy. I'm curious to see where it goes, but
I just wish a little more thought and intention went into this in terms of his characterization and like, if not to be yes, I'm gonna be Darby. You need to find your why, honey.
Yeah,
find your why and explain it.
Yeah. One of the things that stuck in my head, because it's such a like sort of teenage drama kind of thing, is the like, I need this title or else what was it all for? And it's
what all for?
Darby, there's a phrase for that. It's the sunk cost fallacy.
Right.
You can change gears and go for other things. You can go for quiet evenings on the veranda. You don't.
And we've talked about this here on Chatter Machine, and I know some of our other, I couldn't tell you which right now, but I know some of our podcast friends have also talked about how like it is actually a really interesting thing to achieve something so great, like to work to achieve something like Everest in this example, and then to come back and have to deal with, have you changed? Are you still the same person?
Yeah.
What, and then so what we could be talking about here is now he has this empty void that now needs to be filled with something else. And he's decided with no real reason that it's the AEW Men's World Championship that is the thing he needs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Can we talk about why? Or, you know.
Darby, I'd like to suggest that you find some people who've done some, I've got two ideas here. Find some people who've done some through hiking. Talk to them about the experience of going on a long journey, a long trail hike, and then coming back and having to go back to your desk job. Well, how do you cope with that? And go talk to the astronauts who just went around the moon.
Fuck yeah,
you
astronauts.
Know? Are they going to be moping around and being like, oh, I need to go and throw myself off stairs? And no, probably not.
They probably feel pretty crazy right now.
Yeah.
Coming back from that must feel pretty crazy. But no, that's like any kind of, especially like it's easy to say in terms of like a physical or athletic achievement. There are plenty of people who through hike a 2,000-mile trail and then they get home and they're like, fuck, I can't go back to my normal life. I have to do it again next year with a different one. Yeah. Or like if you climb tall mountains, you know, you're like, oh, well, now I have to tick off all the top, you know, the highest mountain in every continent or whatever. People gravitate often to like a checklist of achievements. Mm-hmm. So when they do one, it's like, okay, what next? Mm-hmm. And so if Darby could like channel some of that in his story instead of just being like, Everest! Title! You know, it's like it would be a lot more, you know, it would be more compelling. And it's not exactly subtle storytelling. Yeah. It's like very obvious stuff and just like a little bit more. Give me a little more.
I think you know, that's what here we are talking about Darby a whole lot more than we probably need to.
It's because we want him to be like an iceberg with a lot underneath the surface. We want that. I don't know. It's like my inner little goth shithead. Yeah. My little inner goth shithead wants there to be so much.
Yeah. I am stepping outside of myself for a second and just saying like, okay, so I'm being worked by this and engaged with it. So to some degree, you could just say, well, it's good work.
I'm not sure you're being worked. I just don't think there's enough. I think it's okay to be like, this is frustrating. Yeah. I don't think it's a work.
I appreciate the recent like shift, at least. Whether it goes anywhere really compelling is left to be determined. But
so the upshot of this is that Darby has won a title contending. He's won a chance for the title.
Yeah.
And he, to my great shock, was immediately like, Wednesday! I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, because I'm thinking, oh, fuck, is that what Double or Nothing is going to be? Right, and then he's like, Wednesday on Dynamite, you know, MJF or Kenny, it'll be one of you. And I'm like, oh, all right.
And we'll get to the men's title scene later. We will. I will just say up front, so we don't necessarily need to cover it all later, but there's no way Darby's winning. A lot of people seem to be concerned or have
timeline that are like, yeah, like there's enough people who are like, well, what if he wins? You know, or like they're already getting mad with the idea that Darby is possibly going to win the title on the Wednesday after a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Which to me, it's like, okay, I always encourage people to try not to get mad at things before they happen, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah. And
what on earth would make you think that's going to happen?
And I'm no expert. I had to look it up, but I was just kind of like, all right, when has this ever happened before? And like the last time and one of the only like 2 times that the title changed hands not on a pay-per-view was in 2022, and that was because the whole CM Punk situation. It was vacated and they had to like scramble to get it on someone.
Oh God.
Right? So like, whereas we are in a situation now where MJF has defended on TV a few times against people who very deservedly could have won it, and they didn't. So they're not going to suddenly give it to Darby.
And I think I saw someone be like, well, Mania's coming up, so you got to do something crazy. Like, and it's like, I don't think like preemptively doing something crazy to like try to overshadow whatever the fuck garbage is going to happen on Mania is really Tony Khan's MO. Nor should it be.
I just don't think Darby's in that caliber of even people caring enough.
And here's the thing though, if you are a Darby fan, or like even if you just like a good satisfying title story and it's like doesn't matter so much who, you don't want to see Darby. Like Darby's been there kind of since the beginning, right? Like why would you want him to finally win the title on the fucking Wednesday after a pay-per-view with hardly any build.
Yeah.
Like, just
well, the
wait,
flip side
just chill.
the flip side stands
Chill.
of like WrestleMania would overshadow that, maybe, you know, like
I don't think for any good reason.
No, not for good reason.
But it just like, no.
Don't you want it to be
don't
good?
You want it to be like a big deal?
Yeah.
If Darby ever wins the title, anyway.
We'll
move on.
Way too much about that.
We always talk too much about Darby. Kind of weird. I want him to be like Cody Walsh from Dimension 20, but he's not.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Darby, be more like Cody.
Go watch Dimension 20. Yeah. Get some ideas. All right. So then we move on to the hotly anticipated.
Oh my God.
We have been anticipating this for practically 6 months at this point.
I am not sure I've ever lived without waiting for this match to happen.
Me neither. FTR.
In my entire life. It's been 84 years.
FTR versus Cage and Cope, or as we are now calling them, Christian Cage and Adam Copeland.
It is so interesting that they're not coming out as a tag team.
Yeah.
I guess I get why, because they both have such definitive like singles entrances, but it's like, okay.
You sort of milk that, like, you know, people want to sing Cope's song, and
except they don't know the fucking words.
No, there's that too. Yeah.
Get it together, Vancouver. You knew this was coming. You could have at least had the lyrics up on your phone.
Yeah. Also, they're still
Metalingus.
Kind of frenemies. I don't know.
No, they're definitely not frenemies. I love. I'm just gonna keep citing Tunnel Talk because I just listened to their most recent thing. And it just made me laugh so much, the characterization of Cope kind of being like, with Cage just being like, acting like a dick, and Cope is just kind of like, as if breaking the fourth wall, being like, you can't take this guy anywhere.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Can't live with him, can't live without him. You know, they're definitely not frenemies.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know, it's more like a marriage.
Yeah, it's true. All right. So... just
married to an asshole. It happens.
I love that entrance. It's I mean, that's the thing. I wouldn't want them. I love those entrances. I love.
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't really want it any other way,
really
but it is interesting that they haven't. I mean, maybe that has something to do with the result of this match.
Could be. So I mean, that was a big surprise for me.
Everybody.
When I think about it more, I can understand. I think TK likes to drag things out if he thinks selling. If they're a good sell, they're a big draw, selling tickets, selling interest, whatever. Yeah, he loves to drag things out. So that's
really crazy what he did to Canada. Particularly with this match.
Yeah.
With this match.
If they hadn't had to take some time off, maybe it could have built to a big win here. But this was the first big, so, you know, if you've got
Oh, God, what if they do All Out in Toronto again? What if we have to wait the fucking tag titles will just be held hostage?
Well, we'll see.
I'm sorry. You were in the middle of a sentence and I am doing the
Let's
thing
spiral.
I keep
Let's
doing
spiral
the thing
about
I always say that people shouldn't do.
Look, here's what I'll say. I don't really like the tag belts being held hostage, so to speak.
No.
I don't know how long they will continue to be held hostage. All of that aside, this match was really good. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed what happened during it. And I am sure that the classic wrestling thing of, well, we lost, but now we want a stip match, or like a street fight, or a ladder thing, or whatever the fuck. They're gonna do an escalation. It's gonna
be more dramatic,
and we'll keep it going. And
man, all of Canada thought they were getting it tonight, though. The fucking "O Canada" being sung in the crowd and the Canadian flag, they really thought they were getting this one.
Yeah,
and I don't blame them for thinking that.
I mean, I thought they were getting it too. So. And to be fair, if you did want to drag out the feud and keep doing these matches or something, they could have won, and then FTR could have been like, I
would really personally prefer, if you're going to drag out this feud forever, could you do it without the belts?
Yeah, because they're stuck now. Jet Speed deserves them.
Now, then again, like when the Bucks and Okada and Takeshita was a great example of like, you don't need the belts to have a great time, baby.
Yeah.
But then you have like Jet Speed, for example.
Yeah,
like
there's
and Bang Bang Gang.
There's
other people who should be vying for these belts.
Yeah,
but I do have a soft spot for FTR. I gotta say.
Yeah. Did you like my impression of them there?
Which one was that?
I don't know.
That was just I should figure out how to make that a stereo sound, and just both of them. They're younger than us.
I'm tired, yo.
They are younger than us, and we don't really get to act like they're
true.
not.
That's true.
To be fair, we are at least younger than Cage and Cope.
I suppose one problem you get if you don't involve the belts is then you probably also still want to have your belts matches on the pay-per-view, and if you want to have this on the pay-per-view too, you've already got way too many men's matches. So all right, let's just play it out until it's done.
And plus, then they can't beat each other with the belts and then try to sell that like Cope got his forehead macerated.
Yeah. I did like that he was like blading before they smacked him, and it wasn't like smack him and then he has to go,
I missed that. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. I kept saying, where's Beth?
Where's
Beth?
That's
another reason they lost, I think.
Yes, I think they're not going to win till Beth comes out.
I think that would be fun.
I love Stoke forever.
So, yes. Oh, I did really like him getting involved and then being thrown into the ring to break up a hold. That was great.
Stoke, who, by the way, was the surprise April Fool's guest on the latest AEW Heels call, which was so fun. So fun. Love him. Mwah.
Shall we move on? Do you have anything more with?
I mean, we already said about the build. This build could not be fucking longer.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? I don't know. Feud continues until somehow it resolves.
Yeah, I guess it's worth saying about the build. I'm not really that interested in the build. The match was great, but I'm kind of can't really get that invested in we've just got a personal vengeance thing and want to prove that we still got it because you attacked my wife. I don't know.
I'm enjoying it.
I like the generational aspect. Let me actually, I'll walk that back. I do kind of like the generational, like, we're actually better than you and I don't know. That kind of works.
We're not too old. We're best in all generations kind of thing.
Yeah,
we're not just the best of our generation.
That's fine.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I know it's not really cool to be enjoying this, but I'm enjoying it. I'm especially happy to see Christian Cage back.
Yeah.
Back being ridiculous.
His brand of asshole is enjoyable to me.
Yeah, so keep it up, boys.
Yeah. All right. And then I think in here is where we got a little Willow basically,
is this where we had her promo where she was all taped up like a sling?
She was taped up. She was
still in her really cute outfit.
Yeah. She was all like, I'm not cleared for now, but I will be by Wednesday, so come at me. Come fight me.
Sure. I'm not cleared. That's why we can't have another women's match on the pay-per-view. My ass. I'll be cleared in 3 days, though, because that's how being cleared works. I know I'll be cleared in 3 days. Anyway, sorry. Breaking kayfabe.
So then we got the Casino Gauntlet, which I was really looking forward to. These are just fun little displays of madhouse chicanery and shenanigans and talent you don't get to see all the time or you've been missing. I kind of wish there was more guys that came out for this one, honestly.
Yes, and I think I've seen quite a few people rightfully kind of be disappointed that like you don't have any big returns. Because these gauntlet matches are a great venue for having a surprise entrant or a big return as a surprise. But that said, I was very much enjoying every single entrance here.
Yeah. And for something that may have been sort of booked or thrown together relatively last minute because of the injury of Kyle Fletcher, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I like to think that stuff is pretty carefully planned when you're talking about somebody like, I don't know if Jay White is anywhere near returning, but we've heard like Colton Gunn is better. Like we've heard Buddy Matthews.
Not like Chucky T. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention him. It's been too long. But I don't know if there's anyone else that people would have been expecting.
Not clear. Well, yeah.
All right, save it for Blue Sky.
R.I.P. Chucky T. Just show your face.
Yeah.
As heel manager Tamina Shirakawa, I'll never let go.
It's a good idea. Book it.
Tony Khan.
But so we had some build for this, which so it was sort of hastily thrown together, but we did get a couple of matches where Ciampa fought Mascara Dorada to get the number 1 entry.
Yes.
Bowens fought Roosh to get to try to get the number 2 issue.
And we continue to be like, oh, Roosh, but like apparently dudes fucking love Roosh.
It's fine.
People love Roosh.
That's fine. I'm getting more and more comfortable with the fact that just like everything isn't for me. I wish certain other people would get more comfortable with the fact that everything isn't for them. But anyway, setting that aside, yeah. So, but this was really fun. I'm accustomed kind of to like more people coming out, but I really was excited every time.
How many people did come out? I mean, like a decent number of guys did come out.
It was. I think I've seen a couple, like one too many, where it's like 21 guys or something, and like this was like 10.
I think that the Battle Royale in Revolution was a 21 man, and that's like kind of too many guys.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, if anything, I'm not really complaining. I'm just observing. It's like, oh, this was different. I kind of expected, due to my previous things I've seen, that it would be more. But it was great. El Clone looked amazing.
Oh my God.
There were some fucking amazing sequences in here. I just saw a clip of it today again, where like Ciampa like knocks someone over and then like he like crawls over to cover them, and then that's where Bandito hits the 21 suplex.
Oh my God.
Pulling him off the cover.
Okay.
Bandito coming out was a huge pop. They've got to push him more.
He was number
Christ.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a hard push.
Yeah.
That's a hard push.
More.
Yes, more Bandito, please. Give us something. But yes, that 21 plex was the moment of the match.
Beautiful.
Really.
And there was like a sequence leading up to it that was just so smooth between, I don't even remember who else, so bad job me, but
here we go.
I could watch that
We
clip.
only got 4 hours of sleep thanks to Tony Khan, so it's not fresh in our minds. I just remember posting on Blue Sky like, fuck it, give this guy
everybody
give El Clone the belt.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Knight came out, and I was like, oh yeah, give Kevin Knight.
Yeah.
Now my like sort of prediction here was I kind of thought Ciampa would maybe get it back, or also I was like, Speedball ? But the fact that Kevin won it is perfect. Such a delight. I was not expecting it.
I saw multiple people mention Speedball, so I kind of thought that's what it was going to be, but
why? Why do we think?
No, it's just because people said it, and so it's like in the ether.
Nobody knows anything.
Kevin Knight was perfect.
Kevin Knight was fucking perfect, and he's such a good kind of direct replacement for Kyle Fletcher in terms of like the youth, the vigor, the swagger. They're obviously very different characters, but he's like such a perfect choice for this moment. I mean, he's unreal.
Yeah.
Kevin Knight is unreal.
Yeah, and this is going to lead to some great defenses. I'm so glad to know we're already getting a defense with Castagnoli. Like
perfect. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah.
Claudio's going to make Kevin look so good.
And I'm glad I'm glad both Speedy and Jet were in this match.
Yes.
And we had a little like sort of face-off moment that then got broken up. It was perfect. I had a blast with this gauntlet.
Yeah.
So
and Anthony Bowens.
Yes.
I'm enjoying. I want to see more. I'm enjoying that he's getting some time.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a like. I hope that he is able to reinvent himself a little bit. Not that he like needs to, but
it feels like he wants to.
It feels like he's on the cusp of something a little bit even more different than post Acclaimed. Like getting past the like everybody wants the Acclaimed thing.
Yeah.
Since they clearly aren't doing that now.
Which sucks. I hate it.
Yeah.
Why are you listening to horrible men on the internet?
Yeah, I am very sad.
We don't really know what's happening, but
I am very sad that they appear to have had to finish that out on an indie show, and I'm happy for the people at the indie show. Yeah. But that just
was they were so over, and like Max Caster's challenge and everything, that was so over for me, and I thought it was kind of over with audiences.
And they were still doing promo video stuff in December, and I thought we were gonna get new stuff.
Fun and good, and now some fucking shit survey said it was bad, so we're listening to that. Like it was great.
Very annoying, but
it was great. Anyway,
all that said, if Max Caster, now we're talking about the Acclaimed guys, but if Max Caster is not going away, I want to see more of him.
He's not going away, but
it feels kind of like maybe
I don't know.
Maybe it's just gossip, whatever. But love seeing Bowens. He's really fucking good, and he deserves the world. He deserves more of a push.
Yep.
So hope to see more of him. Hope to see him evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed the Gauntlet, generally speaking. I need more El Clone and Ciampa and
these guys who move different. A Goblin King Ciampa.
Speaking of which, I would have loved to see Leo Rush in the Gauntlet.
Yeah, he would have been great.
Yeah.
All right, then we move on, and we got the AEW Women's World Championship. We got the Toxic Spider, Thekla, and Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
And this one, what can you say?
What can you say? Well, we could talk about the build.
Yes.
Which
Tekla's very tiny, by the way. Did you know?
She really is.
It's really tiny. And
every time I'm marveling at how
you
legitimately
forget
tiny
because
she is.
her aura is so huge.
And I just love, and I know she did have the cool side braids and stuff again, but just that aside, just in terms of like the hair dye, the bleach of it all, I just love her commitment to having the most punk as fuck, shitty ass fried hair.
Yeah.
It's so funny, especially compared to Clark Connors, who has like luscious, like he's using the Pantene and she's using Dial, you know?
Yeah.
It's great. Anyway, so the thing about the build for this is that it's just like the build for pretty much all the women's world championship matches, which is just like, who's gonna step up to me this month for whoever is the champ.
Yeah.
Now there is like a little bit of history, of course, with Jamie and Thekla, because I guess Thekla is the one who, you know, in kayfabe, put Jamie
her out
out
for
on
months.
injury.
Yeah. And so now that Hayter is back and teaming with Windsor as the Brawling Birds, I'm loving that, and I love the Brawling Birds, honestly. I want to see more of them.
How funny was their little pub?
The little pub with the little tea set with the brass knuckles sitting there? Are you kidding me?
I'm quite sure that having like fine china tea sets is not a typical feature of a pub.
Yeah. Oh, and when like when the beer was chugged and the glass was thrown aside and you kind of hear it bouncing on the floor because it's plastic was amusing to me. But you know, you're sort of expecting like a of like shattering glass, and then it's just anyway.
So funny.
But so I'm loving them. It's just I think there's a thing where like, okay, and they're new and they're still sort of developing themselves, and immediately because we don't get enough women's stuff and we don't get enough women time on TV, they're women time. They're thrown straight into like, all right, we got to carry this feud that, you know, and do the next pay-per-view women's title match.
We're pushing you as a tag team, and yet here you are.
You're a tag team, and you're challenging for the belt and carrying this, and also, you know, the other part of you is going to serve for the Osprey Mox build also. Like, you know,
it's like a lot of jobs.
Yeah, there's a lot riding on not enough time. I felt that. However, all that said, I thought their chemistry in the ring was great. They just had a lot of sick moves, a lot of sick shit going on, and it was a great match. I enjoyed myself. Thekla won as I expected, so not really like any big surprises there. No big like returns or reveals or anything.
And so like I talked about this last time, you know, I was a little frustrated that Thekla is not getting a clean win.
Yes. Yeah.
And she still didn't, but it felt like, and we'll talk about this more, I think, with the men's.
Yes.
Like, is there a story here? Because Thekla didn't, to my mind, she didn't really have to grab that rope. She had the pin. She grabbed it the last split second.
Yeah.
Is there something?
I honestly almost didn't parse that she grabbed the rope.
I think plenty of people, I saw at least one skeet that was like, she won clean. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? She was holding the rope. But it was almost like, was she afraid to not grab the rope? I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Is there like a crack in the facade? Or is this just, I think I'm overthinking it. I think it's just like, she's a shitty cheating heel. But like, it almost seemed like she didn't have to.
I mean, it at least leaves the door open for what does feel like a very standard sort of like sports story or like, you know, competition story of like, well, if you're cheating, you are naturally maybe going to start feeling afraid that you can't win without the cheating. Right.
It's and like, I don't think they're exactly showing us that, but I like to start imagining.
Well, it's funny because I didn't really think anything other than, well, I don't want to think about people wrestling drunk when there was the like promo where she was drinking. But now that I'm thinking about it, drinking is one of those classic examples of this where it's like, well, I can only go on stage after I've had a couple.
Exactly.
You know?
I was thinking about that too, because it was like there was some kind of rumor that she did that promo drunk.
Okay.
And I remember asking somebody, like, do we know that she was drunk? Because I don't want anybody to be like wrestling. I mean, I think it was just a promo, but like that person was like, oh, I wonder what she'd be like wrestling intoxicated.
Right,
I'm like, I really don't want to see anybody ever. I know, like, I'm sure it's happened many, many, many times, but like, I have no interest in seeing someone wrestle intoxicated because I like seeing people not break their necks.
Yeah.
But the idea of like, I was like, so who said she was drunk? Did Thekla see this rumor that like she was doing the promo drunk? I think that might be something.
Could be something. Could
be
nothing sometimes.
It could be nothing. Like, we're supposed to be viewing her as this person with like immense amounts of swagger, and she does have that, but it's like, oh, you're doing a promo drunk? Or like, oh, you're grabbing the rope when you really don't need to? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure I'm overthinking it.
To be determined, to be revealed.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the, generally speaking, I've enjoyed the Brawling Birds, Triangle of Madness, Mina Shirakawa, like, vortex that we've been in for a little while leading up to this match. I'm not sure how that continues from here. I really do appreciate that the Sisters of Sin did not interfere in this match, because I would have been really pissed.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that was refreshing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Aminata's back.
Fuck yeah.
And I hope that we get some more fleshed out stuff going forward. If we do also just get like sort of maybe a rematch of these two, it was great. I'd be happy to see it again.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
And then one of the most anticipated, I would say, matches of the night, we had the Continental Championship.
Yeah.
With Jon Moxley defending against Will Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was one of those things where I don't really know why anybody thought Ospreay was going to win the Connie. Like, what good would that do him? And this, like, everybody on the fucking planet has been working on the assumption that Will Ospreay is going to be somehow granted the men's world title at All In, right?
People keep saying it. Everybody's saying it.
I'm kind of like starting to be like, well, what if we don't just assume it's true? I mean, like, but that's certainly how they're selling the event as well, like subliminally. They're not going ahead and telling you Ospreay will win the championship, but that's supposed to be a reason to buy tickets, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I've been listening to too much Trish and Sarah, but I really appreciate a lot of the analysis Trish in particular has been doing on this topic of like, Will Ospreay as top guy, and what that means and how it happens and if it's kind of risky. Anyway, but just without getting into all of that, we can all agree that like everybody on the entire planet, there's nobody, I have not heard a single person who doesn't think that Ospreay is going to be at least in the title match in London. So why would he win the Continental belt right now? What good would that do? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it because, you know, you can have the Continental belt and just sort of ignore it, which has I don't like it. I'm just saying, I can see looking at this and being like, well, if Ospreay comes and, you know, finishes this grudge with Mox and wins and shows that he's strong, he can like move on. And he looks strong. So I could sort of see thinking about it that way.
Yeah.
I say that just because I'm trying to think how other people would be thinking. I wasn't sure, but I kind of figured Mox would win, and he did.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So the Owen's about to start, right? I don't actually know how long the Owen is. Like, I mean, I know it's like it ends at Double or Nothing, and it starts after Dynasty. But other than that, you know, based on when we started watching last year, which was like right at the end of the Owen, I don't actually know how big the brackets tend to be and like how many matches are involved. I know it's not as much as the C2, but I don't know how long it typically takes. So, but my point just being, I think the Continental Championship situation is going to be very separate from the Owen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And maybe, I don't think Mox is going to be in the Owen. I don't think he has any desire for the men's world title, thank goodness. I think Mox is happy right where he is. I just don't.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Malcolm has seen the audio like diagram on the iPad moving and is suddenly like, is this a cat toy? Is this cat TV?
Malcolm has discovered audio and thinks it's a
audio
cat toy.
Spectrum stuff.
And he's about to bap it. He's about to bap it, and we're going to be fucked.
Deflect.
This is terrible.
I might just have to kick him out.
Cat problems. That's why you tune into Chatter Machine.
This is why you tune in. That's okay. I'll just hold it up for a minute. So
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I don't know. It's interesting because this particular event has had me reflect. I hadn't really given it thought before, but for me, I'm feeling like the only reason I have had the thoughts about Ospreay at All In, for me, this is just speaking for me, is for me only because people keep saying it. I feel like I have not seen things on TV or in artwork or whatever, aside from, I know that some people said like, well, the like promos we got from coming back
the promos
are like
for him coming back are like
positioning
extremely
him.
epic.
Yeah. And I guess you don't get that for everyone that comes back. So I can hear that. But outside of that, I'm looking at, okay, he came back, but his first thing is I have to go after Jon Moxley. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Jon Moxley's nowhere near the men's title right now. It's not
true.
A story at all.
He certainly hasn't come up to us and said, I want the men's world title.
Yeah, I mean, I get that there's like still time for that, but like,
is there?
Well,
I guess.
I mean, I think this is partly why maybe some people thought like, oh, well, he'll win because then it's like, he looks strong or whatever. Whereas like, well, if he loses, well, then what? Does he just say, okay, well, I'm dropping this and moving? Like, how does he get in the Owen? Why does he get in the Owen? How does it connect?
Yeah, I mean, and you recall he got basically to the end of the Owen last year. So one would think him re-entering the Owen is like rebuilding and rewriting the story.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they're just going to do a thing where he has like a brief dark night of the soul and it's like, I have to prove myself to myself or something like that. Maybe that's the way. The other thing I thought was...
Talk about people who do not have an iceberg's worth of depth.
I know. Well, I feel like I'm wanting a lot the most from people who are least likely to give it to me sometimes. So that's an interesting note.
Ain't that the truth?
Anyway.
Jot that down.
Jot that down. But the other thing is I saw someone mention like, okay, so part of this story with the Death Riders has been him bringing in not the Undisputed Kingdom. And my brain is kicking that out.
I never thought about it like that, but that is actually, it's the kingdom part that's throwing you, I think.
Yeah, well, and the UN, United Empire, is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, so his friends from abroad. Yes, also that. Kingdom is more quaint? I don't know. Anyway,
no, it's all terrible.
It's all terrible. Anyway, but so he's got his friends, because he doesn't have any friends in the back, so he imports them. Apparently, which I get is a fun way to bring people in and show them off. But so he did that. They had this parking lot brawl or whatever, and and Marina and Windsor were involved, and all this stuff as part of the build. But that begs the question, or it leads me to think, well, will that continue? Is this going to be? And I saw someone say, oh, this will be the Anarchy in the Arena this year, which I don't know. Seems kind of too straightforward.
Yeah,
Death Riders
they'll have to build that up more.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Ospreay is going to be in the Anarchy in the Arena, but it could be the other guys, I guess. Well, okay. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It depends how much we are wedded to this idea that he is obviously going to be in the men's title match at All In. If that is not going to happen, that opens up the whole damn thing, right?
I just can't imagine. I don't know. Far be it from me to know what Tony Khan has in that little brain of his.
Yeah. Well, I love to come up with stupid ideas that don't end up happening. So everyone's probably right.
I mean, it just... To me, it's not worthwhile.
Yeah, I just don't...
It's not worthwhile trying to come up with alternative
The reason my brain is kicking out all this stuff is I don't really see how we get from where we are to that.
Kind of agree. Other than, I mean, he just has to get in the Owen. That's it.
I guess so.
But, okay.
Yeah.
So, the thing with United Empire, I don't know enough about New Japan lore to really say anything, but I know that when Callum Newman just very recently won the IWGP title, it was like kind of shocking, and I remember reading or hearing that they're kind of setting up he's gonna betray Will Ospreay when Will goes back to New Japan, and this was before any of them showed up in AEW. So I was kind of going under this understanding that Will was gonna be going back to Japan and effectively setting himself up to get his ass handed to him by his protege. And then they all showed up in AEW, which I don't think anybody was expecting. They had that Chaos in Canada brawl, which was really, really fun. I don't know these guys at all, but I'm interested in, unlike the War Dogs a bit, I was like, oh, who are these guys? This is kind of interesting. Sorry, War Dogs, I guess you're all right too. Whatever. Stop pissing on sofas.
I like groups that have different characters in them. I'm just realizing, and the War Dogs there are differences, but for me,
they definitely are different. But
there's a little bit of
their vibe.
We're all kind of the same. I don't know, whatever.
Anyway. After that. All I was trying to say was after that, Will literally was like, "This is my little brother, Callum Newman," and everybody went, "Oh." So it looks like, I don't know, maybe he's going to have his ass handed to him on AEW, or maybe this was feeding into this potential New Japan story.
Okay.
Either way, don't know.
Yeah.
But I had fun with that. So what does this mean for Ospreay? I don't know. Like, I think it could imply that he will at some point have some dark night of the soul.
Yeah. I mean, that would work at least with the way this match played out. So we haven't really talked about the actual match.
Yeah, let's talk about the match.
I don't remember a ton of details, but I do know
a lot of really crazy kickouts.
A lot of crazy kickouts. I really liked Ospreay coming right out the gate with
hidden blades over and over again.
Yeah, was it someone said online, death from above?
That's good.
Yes, but the hidden blade a million times, but like, you know, sort of weakening over time and like getting pounded with.
Oh,
excuse
no.
me. Put up the kiss sign.
This is why you listen to Chatter Machine.
Yeah. But, you know, they're obviously playing up the neck injury, and they're playing up the whole, like, Mox has a point thing, kind of. And yeah. I like Mox sort of being very much a heel, but still having a point, which is the best kind of heel, you know?
Definitely. I mean, I still think Mox is kind of in Tweener Town.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Best town to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a lot. I mean, Mox he's a killer as far as the Continental Belt goes. He's a great person to be holding it right now and like getting to have a place in all these storylines. And
I think Will coming out and really flailing at him immediately and like going all out.
Yeah.
Right out the gate was like, oh, well, Mox is winning. I mean, I thought Mox was winning anyway, but it's like, okay, this is the story we're telling now. The guys who are unable to control their emotions go too hard, and then they get their asses handed to them eventually.
Yeah. Use your head, bruv.
Use your head, bruv. Not your neck, please.
Not your neck.
Also, please, I just really don't enjoy when wrestlers try to sell neck bumps by like...
Oh, the faux twitching? Yeah. No, I didn't like that.
Don't like that. I mean, I know the difference when I'm looking at somebody who is having like actual spinal cord damage or whatever, but a lot of people don't, and it's not pleasant for me to look at either. I
tend to assume these things are kayfabe, but that one hit me more because we just had like within the last few weeks there was the match, and I forget some whatever dumb promotion where they don't care about safety, but where the like ref got a bad bump and then was having a seizure in the ring and everyone was ignoring it. And me being an untrained person, I'm like, oh, it kind of looks the same in my head. I actually didn't
watch. I didn't see a clip of that. I didn't want to see a clip of that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Will was twitching his arms, and then he was like jerking his legs a little bit, but then I could see that like immediately after that, he's fully bending his legs and like wiggling around.
Yeah, like, after a little bit, it's like, okay, but
this is clearly not real, but I just don't. Kyle Fletcher's done it too. Like, I just don't. I know it's selling, but can we not?
It's a little bit more disturbing kind of selling. But anyway.
It's a little too real. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anybody actually get a spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
Anyway, please don't do that. Thank you.
But
enjoyed the match. Not sure where that's going.
Yeah.
From here, but
yeah,
I'll wait and see.
Yeah, waiting to see. I look forward to a lot of people continuing to believe they know what's going to happen and being upset about it, but we will see. We will see what will happen.
And I think I have enjoyed Mox's Continental run. I think this has worked.
Yeah.
On a number of levels.
Yeah. So. Moving on, we got really the feel-good match of the night, honestly.
Yeah.
We got a World Trios Championship match, and the opening with, we didn't know who was going to be with Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong. There was no way to know.
We knew.
There might have been a promo with a little fun Kyle back with the phone call. With the mystery person.
Yes, I love that.
But yeah, so the War Dogs, just like the day before, metaphorically speaking, took the belts off of Jet Speed Mystico.
Yeah.
Everyone's calling the War Dogs. The Dogs, excuse me. The dogs. Whatever.
They should have Who Let the Dogs Out.
Should they?
License it. It'll be great.
War. All right, never mind. Instead of woofing. No. So yeah, and we got this lovely little reveal.
So tired.
We are tired. We got this lovely little reveal of the little conglomeration like sitcom set, which I did not even parse the like overhanging like audience lights
great.
that I didn't even parse that,
like
but
live
clips,
filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Clap, applause, or what, laugh, applause.
Yeah.
But it was a fun little sketch, and Kyle came out, and Roddy is conglomerating so hard now. He's just one of the gang.
I love Kyle just doing his almost Kramer entrance.
Yeah. So I guess we get this match because the dogs and the Glom had been feuding for a while. So naturally, if they get the belts, the Glom comes in and says, "We'll feud again and try to get them."
And ordinarily with the fact that they had just won the belts, one day prior, I wouldn't normally think that the dogs would not retain. But given the very strong suggestion that Kyle O'Reilly would be returning in his home city, I was like, well, what if though?
Yeah.
And I was so happy to see Kyle.
I had picked the dogs here, and I think I was partly just feeling spicy, but it was also the thing where like they just
spicier to pick the Glom, I think.
Yeah.
I was like going with vibes there.
Yeah, it makes a lot more. I wish I'd given more weight in my thought to like the fact that it was going to be Kyle O'Reilly coming back. Why would he come back and then lose? But
I mean,
it happens.
They do that kind of shit all the time. Yeah. But then there were people online were like, well, then why did they give it to the dogs in the first place? It's like because the conglomeration wasn't about to challenge Jet Speed Mystico.
Yeah. And why didn't
that match would have been really weird.
Yeah. If anything, it's really kind of just like, why didn't they pull the trigger earlier? Well, Kyle wasn't going to be back,
Right. Yeah.
Jet Speed Mystico was just holding it until...
And now still, unfortunately, there seemed to be, for real, I mean, as far as I'm aware, there was a shoot injury for Gabe Kidd, maybe like a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah,
and
something unfortunate.
Tony Khan is on the record as saying like he's out indefinitely, which we don't know what that means. But I've seen some speculation that maybe they called an audible. I don't think so. I think this was intended to be the conglomeration taking the belts 100%. I don't think they called an audible because of Gabe's injury. I'm not even totally convinced that Gabe's injury is real for that reason.
I hope he's well regardless, and if he's injured, he heals. They put up the Conglom and new graphic right away at the end. There's no way that could a graphics design team get it together that fast on an audible? Sure, I suppose, but like no, that to me, I'm like, no, guys,
that was all part of the plan. Y'all are getting worked. Don't let Orange Cassidy acting surprised.
I enjoyed that.
It was very fun, but it didn't feel like real surprise.
No,
come on.
He's a gem is what that was.
I love him, and I'm very happy that he has his I didn't see the whole media scrum, but I did hear that he had his JanSport backpack.
That is perfect.
And
I love
I'm
it.
very happy for all of that.
Yeah, and the match was great. Some great backbreakers from Roddy. Roddy throwing Orange around is still enjoyable for me.
The battering ram is pretty fun. I don't know. I'm still like a little mixed on it, but it is funny. Roddy looks like $1 million.
He does.
Roddy looks fucking amazing.
The best one is where he tosses Orange at the person, and Orange then does the stunner on them.
Yes,
that one's very beautiful.
That he goes straight into like a DDT.
DDT.
It's okay. A stunner would work too.
Yeah.
But that combo move. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was great fun. A little stunning. I was really happy to see at least one Canadian win something. I was gonna say,
we got the one feel-good Canadian win.
And I was kind of like, at this point, I was still thinking Kenny was winning. And I was, but then I looked at you and I was kind of like, I think I still think Kenny's winning, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it. And now I will say, I don't actually want to, I don't want to talk too much about my feelings about this match, like the match itself, just because I think it was probably somewhat colored by how tired I was. It was like midnight.
My impression of the match was definitely colored by how tired I was.
Yeah. To me, this match felt like a slog. And I have a feeling that if I watch it again fresh, which I have not yet done, I will probably feel a little differently about it. But to me, like, I felt pretty negative after the match in terms of like how the pacing of the match was, and like my perception of the chemistry between MJF and Kenny, and like my perception of how Kenny looked. I was feeling kind of negative, and I think probably a big part of that is how fucking tired I was. So I would like to reserve my judgment on that matter. Perhaps we'll talk about it next time.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see it again with fresh eyes. Shall we talk about the build here? This has been a little...
Yeah. I mean, I get the impression that by and large, people liked the match or were disappointed. And I think some of that has to do with some of the build. But yeah, I don't know. I remain kind of confused, and I remain kind of confused about where MJF's run is going. I think I thought it was going to be very bad. It has been fine.
It's been good.
He is a good representative of a heel world champion character. He's doing a good job.
It could have been so much worse. I was worried that it would be so much worse, and he has definitely exceeded my low expectations in that regard.
And for me, part of this and the way I'm talking about it is relating to me. Like, a lot of people love him and think he's the fucking best and great for everything, and it seems like there's a lot of those people. So to some degree, it's in the camp of it just isn't quite for me.
Yeah.
You know? But it's been fine, and I have enjoyed him doing the defenses and getting the Bandito match and the Kevin Knight match and Brody King match, and I thought the Hangman Texas Death match was enjoyable. I kind of enjoyed that more than this match. And again, that I think was partly, as you said, down to being very tired.
Yeah.
But the build was just kind of Kenny, who had some matches last year and then been doing other things, and his matches kept being someone's murdering him, and like he doesn't necessarily look that great.
Right.
Suddenly comes back and is
fake blood, and his oh no, his diverticulitis. Comes back and he's like, no, I'm at 100%.
Right. So the build starts with him coming back and being like, I want the belt. I'm going for it.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it takes, I'm going for it. And then like I'm 100%, and MJF doing his like, you're not 100%, your intestines are going to explode any minute, you know?
And then Doc Samson had this promo, which was really
very funny.
It was very funny. He was just like, I wish you would stop fucking asking me about Kenny's intestines. But no, and I did really enjoy that little promo, but it was basically just like, he's fine.
Yeah.
Which of course is like the real medical answer to that is like, if you have, Cat's diverticulitis corner. If you develop diverticulosis in your colon, which is those little out pouches or like weak parts of your bowel lining, which are like fairly common. If you develop that, those can get infected because like little bits of food can get stuck in them, or like, it's gross. They can get infected, and that's diverticulitis. Okay. And so the danger there is that because the wall of the colon is weak there, it can perforate. And like I don't actually know that much about what happened with Kenny. We weren't wrestling fans at the time, and I don't actually know how much of this knowledge was public in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, if you're the whole thing where he's like, I was 24 hours from death or whatever, implies that his colon perforated, and then he had to have an emergency surgery, and you remove the length of the colon where you have these obviously the infection, but if they saw other like out pouchy areas, you can just remove that whole segment of colon, and then as long as you heal up properly from the surgery, that should be it. You should not have that problem ever again.
Mm-hmm. So
like, there's zero reason, like in real life, there's no reason to be like, oh no, his tum-tum, it's gonna explode, you know, like it's not. Anyway, so that Doc Samson promo was very funny, and I appreciated that.
It was very
he
funny.
Was just like, come on. But yeah, and then I think probably where you were going with that train of thought, which is also my train of thought, was like, then to have that come up as an angle in this match again after all that, like in the ring, was really kind of disappointing for me.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think it was, for me, it was more like, okay, so we're keeping this thing going of, for me, it played more into the question of, is Kenny 100%? Can he pull this off?
Right.
Which he's insisting he can. We all know he's a little older than he used to be.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, but that's the story they're telling, right? They're telling the story of like, can he pull it off? Can he do it again? He's older. He's had medical issues. Sure. Whatever the kayfabe aspect is, that's the story. The other part of that is them building this idea and referencing the idea that like he knows MJF and he knows MJF's tricks, right?
Yeah.
So like there's this give and take in the story that they're building of like, Kenny's come back, he really wants it, he's saying he's 100%. Will we find, what will we find out about how good he can be and pull it off? He's saying, to some degree, he's saying, you're a little weasel and you cheat and you do this and that.
Yeah.
And I've seen it and I'm going to outsmart you. And we see him like outsmart him in the last promo before.
Yeah.
The last like thing, there's this face to face and the ring and all this. So
yeah.
For me, I picked MJF to win. That was partly just, again, me feeling kind of spicy and cynical about like, well, maybe we're just going to keep, doing this thing. I was disappointed, not because like I care that much about Kenny. I haven't been watching wrestling long enough for him to be, and he hasn't been around during the time that we've been watching for me to be like, oh, I love Kenny.
Right.
Kenny
seems lovable enough, but I am actually not that emotionally invested in this match one way or the other, partly because we haven't seen Kenny that much, and like we haven't seen his whole history and all that stuff. So I actually picked Kenny for this because of what I figured were probably like more long-term strategic booking reasons regarding the men's title scene generally. And that's okay. Like, for me, there was a logic to it. And then, of course, some guy on the internet, like, screen capped my circling Kenny and was like, people have to be ready for heartbreak. And I'm like, this isn't about my heart, thanks. Since you screen capped me, like, it's just what I think will happen based on the booking. But so they were doing just like doing the old Hangman girly, like, you just don't want to see your faves lose. Like, fuck off. Anyway, but so that shit will never die, apparently. So now apparently I'm a Kenny Omega fangirl and my heart is broken. Anyway, that's not at all what's happening here. But of course, like I like when faces win. I'm not going to pretend that I'm somebody who's like, I'm not a cool heel person. I like when the face wins, right? But more than that, I just can't help but wonder, given how much promo time has Kenny gotten this year? Since the New Year's Eve Dynamite, where he announced that he was ready to go for the title. Mm-hmm. He has been in that ring cutting promos so much. And I think it was MJ from Waffly Bollocks who was like, all that time could have been women's matches. Mm-hmm. I mean, not, whatever. He can share it. But like, damn, all this build, and then you're going to be like, oh, he still has tummy trouble? Like, and that's going to be a big angle?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, because if he still has tummy trouble now, he's not going to not have tummy trouble 2 months from now, or 6 months from now, or a year from now. A lot of time has passed.
Yeah.
So are we going to see some weird, like, video game, anime, whatever sequence where he, like, develops an iron gut with the help of his lover, Kota Ibushi? Like, I don't know. Like, Kota becomes, like, the bionic man with his leg, and Kenny becomes the bionic colon, and, like, they just, I don't know.
I like the idea of him coming out and doing like a little anime stance, like power up, and like they could put a little glow effect, like a literal glow up on his tummy.
If they do that, that actually feels like very appropriate for Kenny Omega, and I would enjoy that very much.
Very funny.
Like, show us the
like a little Time Lord regeneration of his, just his colon regeneration.
Just the colon.
They took out 8 feet of colon, but I'm growing it back now.
Does that imply the existence of like the war colon? Anyway.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
So, but wait. Okay. So there's that in terms of like my feeling about the overall kind of booking and arc, like the decisions that have been made that led us here. I don't really have a problem per se with MJF retaining. I do really fucking hate the ref bump. Like that, like as far as the actual match mechanics go, that was I was just like, I was cool till like we've had, and this is not about MJF, this is like a thing we've been doing repeatedly where the baby faces are so dumb, they know the ref's knocked out cold, and yet they're like, wait, let me do my finisher.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they get like a 15 count before, you know, and the whole audience is like 11, 12, 13 or whatever before some other poor ref finally runs in and starts doing the count. And then of course by that point, whoever is the dastardly heel who knocked out the first ref kicks out. Yeah. And in this case, it was out of the One-Winged Angel, which I'm sure will be like an interesting story beat that MJF is going to be like, I kicked out, I'm the first one ever, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then someone pointed out that actually Coda has kicked out of the One-Winged Angel. So like, if this is all just somehow some way to get like Coda from his wheelchair or whatever, or, you know, in crutches, being like, fuck you, it was me. And I don't know. Anyway, it's all beside the point. But like, I would just, do baby faces always have to be this stupid?
Yeah, I mean, that was my main disappointment, was the ref bump part. Yeah. Like, I know that they were doing some of the gut stuff in the match, and like, but ultimately, like, the reason Kenny lost was pulling Bryce in front of an attack. Oh, he's knocked out. That gives, so because part of the buildup was this implication that Kenny can outsmart MJF, right? And we had last summer, we had matches where MJF was trying to get the belt off of Hangman. Mm-hmm. And we had some ref interference stuff. And then Hangman like learned from it. And there was like a 2-match or like 2-event sequence. I think it might have been Dynamite and then like a pay-per-view or whatever. But I enjoyed the build, the development of like, okay, I'm outsmarting you from the cheating that you're doing, right? That happened. I liked that. I was sort of stupid me expecting, we're showing that Kenny is an observer of MJF and can outsmart him and will. And yet we didn't even get a like MJF pulls a trick, Kenny outsmarts him, but MJF's thought far enough ahead that he works around it kind of thing, which would be nice. We just got the same old bog standard basic, I knocked out the ref and now I smack you while he's not looking. Well, okay, you could do that on a TV show. Like,
it's the same fucking thing. And I'm not even MJF, but like, it's the same thing from when Hangman lost the title to Samoa Joe.
Yeah, we literally like saw it like every last pay-per-view going back 6 months.
It's the same old shit. And it's like, you could like tweak it a little bit. Yeah. Just tweak it a little bit. Yep. It doesn't have to change the result. Just like do something a little different and unexpected with the whole thing. I don't know. It's just really frustrating. I know I'm getting worked, but it's just like, do I have to get worked the same exact way repeatedly?
Well, that's the thing.
Like, at what point do you stop going to kick the football?
Yeah, but that's the thing is like, so I saw some skeets from some people who were just enthusing about the pay-per-view and in the context of stating that it was their first one. And I can remember when it was all more new to me. So I am catching myself and being...
You're so cynical now.
Well, I am catching myself and being like, am I very cynical because I'm, you know, if I'm watching a sci-fi show and they do a really fun, like, twist kind of like, I don't know, time travel thing and it's well done and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then the producers are like, okay, that worked really well. We're going to do it 5 times next season. A
couple months later, let's do the same thing again.
As a dedicated viewer, I'm going to be like, I've seen this.
Right.
If I haven't seen it before, it's really fun. That's also, one way for me to look at it.
I get that tropes exist for a reason, and there is a pleasure in watching the trope unfold. But, like, could it just be a little different?
Yeah, that's the thing. And I did like, I had my hopes up when Bryce was like, oh, come on, Max, give me the ring, you know. And, but
you did?
For a second, I was like, that's cool, because I haven't done that.
I guess that was kind of the giveaway.
Twist.
Yeah.
But yeah, someone immediately skeeted like right after that happened on screen, like, oh, Max will get it out of his pocket later. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, good point.
And of course, like Bryce having to like wiggle his hips to help MJF get it out of his pocket was very funny.
That was funny.
Anyway, whatever. The ring thing is fine. You know what, Bandito, you need to take your Dynamite Diamond ring and start using it for good.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, it's all fine. I was just a little...
I actually really enjoyed... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just was trying to say that I like being put in the place of being like, what if I was seeing this for the first time? Yeah. And I also get that, like, in an era of there's dedicated viewers like us watching it all the time and learning the tropes, that's different from a casual viewer. And in an era where we can watch everything and go back and watch the old things, it's very different from when, you know, it was like traveling show stuff and you could do the same thing town to town and people hadn't seen it or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, a little bit of like change up now and then or more often would be nice, because it does get a little like samey if you are a dedicated fan, you know.
At some point it's like, I need to see that the baby faces aren't just making the same stupid mistake over and over and over again. At some point it is like,
it strains credulity a little bit, which it's wrestling, I get it, but but come on, you know, like
you know the ref's down, don't do your finisher.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know how much of it is just TK being like, whatever, I don't have to try that hard because it sells tickets and whatever, you know? But it's like, employ some more writers. I don't know, like come up with whatever. It's fine.
I think there are I think we also are spoiled because, as we have said, we kind of came into AEW right around Double or Nothing last year.
Yeah.
What a fucking moment.
Yeah.
To start. Like, talk about stories. Of course, we unfortunately missed being live viewers of like the Hollywood ending and stuff like that, that whole saga. But what was going on with Hangman and Swerve and even Ospreay, you know, being carried along on the wave of the story, like there were big story beats happening.
Yeah.
So we came in and like the Tony and Mariah arc had just ended basically. So we were seeing clips of that. And then we were kind of seeing the build to what was happening at Double or Nothing in terms of the men's title scene.
Yeah.
And, you know, all of that. And it was like very exciting because there was people were writing pretty involved stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you know, it's a wonderful time to come in, and like we have pretty high standards for what we're expecting in terms of storytelling. And I come to realize, like, I think that there are producers and talent who are really invested in telling great stories, but it's certainly not all of them. And you're not always going to maybe get that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, there's one thing that we talked about earlier that I is still on my mind, which is, you know, I think and it's good that you brought up the last year, because I do recall reading a lot of people saying how much they couldn't wait for the Death Rider stuff to finish, because it was the same thing every time. They come in and they cheat and they win, and Mox still has the belt, and like, who the fuck's going to take it off? And we hate, you know, we hate this.
Right.
Now,
and
I don't.
To the point where like we didn't see the whole thing, but when by the time it came to All In, we were like, oh fuck, get that thing out of the briefcase. Like,
yeah. But and like, I'm not sitting here being like, oh, I hate this MJF run, someone please take it off him. Like, I'm not feeling that way. But there is something about like the story is, if we are kind of effectively doing the same sort of like, we're just going to keep it on a bad guy for a long time. And you know, I read someone saying like the sort of thing that I think we all kind of know anyway, of like, well, yeah, if you keep it on the heel for a long time, then people are it's really cathartic when it finally comes off. People love the person who takes it off. I'm like, yeah, I get that basic.
But we just did that.
We just did that. But also what I would say is we did it better for me, because the story of MJF having the title is kind of just, he's a guy with a big ego that keeps cheating to have it. Just a person with an ego is less interesting to me than a man with a mission statement.
Right.
Mox had a mission statement.
He had an elevator speech. Mox knew his why.
He knew his why. He had a stable of guys who were being uplifted by participating every time. You know, Marina, Yuta, like these folks coming in, you're getting to know them, you're getting to hate them. This whole thing is building a lot of stuff. When it's just MJF, I'm just kind of like, all right, it's just him. He's got an ego. He's a smart aleck. You know, he's a big mouth.
I think they can go interesting places with MJF's character. I'm not sure if they will. I also have to admit that I, you know, just to like think too far ahead and like I don't want to think about booking that doesn't exist yet, but I just can't help but wonder are we just building to like MJF and Ospreay again? Because like I haven't found those matches from the past like that compelling. So it just seems like maybe I'm the odd one out. You know, I just thought they were going to build to something a little more epic.
I don't know. I mean, some
Maybe
people
they
seem
will.
to really want Omega versus Osprey, and I will say,
I mean, that's what I was kind of thinking was going to happen,
and
but
we still could. I mean, so here's
we
the
still can. We don't need to work ourselves into a
so here's the
tizzy.
thing. Both with Cage and Cope and FTR and this, I was sort of like surprised and at least more so with Omega, a little like disappointed in how it went down. But I also realized that the next thing, if you're Tony Khan and you're going to stretch everything out and milk the booking because these events are draws and you're selling tickets, the next thing is an escalation. So maybe we're going to get Omega
Mm-hmm.
escalating and
One would
finding a way.
imagine.
One would imagine. So maybe he's still. I don't know. I'm just saying. I realize after my initial disappointment, I'm disappointed how it played out. But if we get a storyline, and I think you had said earlier today something about like, or we were talking about MJF. Part of his story is also like he's afraid he won't. He's insecure, right? They've talked
Well,
about that.
they're talking
Yeah.
about it on commentary, and that's when I was thinking about Thekla with her
Right.
cheating.
Right.
But commentary is telling us all about how insecure he is, and show me.
Yeah, and I
Show
mean,
me better.
I think they could, yeah, they could do that more and like make a big note on it. I feel like there has been some in some of the
Tell me. Yeah.
There's been some in some of the promos where he shows fear about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's certainly capable of that.
He'll act conflicted for a moment, and then the next time you see him,
he's talking big,
back to the same old shit.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, well, if I had a reason to think it's like going somewhere or not going somewhere, I don't know. I haven't been here watching MJF for the past 7 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
Other people have much stronger opinions on this than I do. I could see it being interesting and good.
Yeah.
And also like I had no real reference. I've seen some older stuff. I know that it was funny that the Cody Vader was and like the throne and everything.
I liked him going down.
Going back down on the throne was so fucking funny. Great job, whoever was operating the lift there. Very, very funny.
Yeah.
I do want to say, I don't know if you had more to say about this particular story or this match specifically, but I just wanted to say, as like a kid from the 90s who was really, really into ice hockey, like Tony Khan, do you know what you're like fucking a whole arena full of people in Vancouver? Like, he really said fuck Canada, other than Kyle O'Reilly coming back, which was delightful. But like, I was like, Jesus, you better hope they don't start burning cars.
I guess the wrestling fans are more
wrestling fans are like more chill, or maybe we're more chill 30 years later. I don't know.
Yeah, so no, so that's that. I don't know. I don't want to get too worked up about the current page in the book when there is going to be another turn of the page, and we'll see what comes next.
Yeah.
I still, as I've said for months, not really into MJF having it all the way to All In, but if that's what they're doing,
If that's what they're doing, that's what they're doing. But I'm going to continue to not assume that that's
right. Yeah.
Like, for me, it's not, like I've said this before, for me, it's not fun to just live with that assumption. I would rather predict something different every time and be wrong every time. I don't have like a satisfaction of being right if I think the thing that I'm right about sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, make it not suck. Show me. I overall quite enjoyed Dynasty. I thought it was pretty great.
Yeah.
I have no major complaints.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just hated the ref bump, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm
a little bit over that, and I'd like them to try to find ways to be more creative with it. But if we're going to tell the same story over and over again, that the babyface has no friends and is dumb until the next time, okay, like, all right, sure, that's fine.
It's been a tough several months for the good guys in AEW, and I get that you have to have dark times and then you can build to happy, face heavy events and stuff like that. And that's fine.
Shall we talk a little bit about what we might be looking ahead to, or some things that weren't Dynasty related that have come up recently?
Sure.
So one thing that happened very recently is Hurt Syndicate returned in force. and had at least like a squash match, a return match.
Yeah.
We don't know a lot, but there was teasing from, I believe, MVP that they're like looking for new members.
Well, MVP's been talking for a while about wanting like new, younger members and stuff, and so far I haven't seen any evidence that they're, we haven't seen the Hurt Syndicate tryouts.
Hook's working harder on getting new members than MVP.
MVP and Hook should just stand on a street corner together.
Oh my god.
And they should have like dueling petitions, like when people are trying to get a city council race, like trying to register for a city council race.
Yeah.
They should just be on opposite street corners being like, sign my petition. Do you wrestle?
I will say the one thing that I think could get me invested in Hook, and it's only because of the possible view of those last like couple of promos as being pure comedy.
I think they were.
I really hope that it has to have been, as we've said. I think if he just leaned into being a comedy wrestler for shits and giggles, I might be like, oh, okay. But
want to believe that he would. I want to believe. We'll see.
Anyway.
So regarding the Hurt Syndicate, the only really interesting suggestion I've seen for this is Queen Aminata.
That would be fun.
I would love. I mean, I don't know if I love that for her.
Yeah.
But I kind of also do love it for her. I don't know. But I would enjoy seeing it at least once.
Given MVP's previous opinions about intergender stuff, I would really love it if they suddenly became an intergender trio, what with the ones in Ring of Honor and stuff. That's
why I'm kind of like, I don't know, because I don't actually want her to be managed by him.
Yeah. But. Well, anyway, that happened, and I have a mild curiosity about where that will go. But we obviously are expecting the future month or two to have a lot of build, perhaps, for Okada and Takeshita. I'm excited about that.
Excited that trigger is apparently getting pulled in our backyard.
It feels like it.
I'm very excited.
I'm really excited to see Kevin Knight do a bunch of TNT defenses.
Yes.
I hope he gets to do a bunch of them. I sort of wonder if we will get Mark Briscoe coming to also give him a run for his money. I don't know when he'll be back, but
I assume he'll be back for sure by their show. They're going to be on the eastern shore of Maryland, like very close to the area of southern Delaware where Briscoe lives and presumably runs his chicken farm.
Yeah.
So I assume he will certainly be back. I believe that's mid-May. So if he's taking a very long break, he'll be back by then. Otherwise, probably before.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, other than that, I'm just sort of assuming now that we're going to get escalations for the tag belt situation and hopefully Omega.
We'll see. Hopefully that moves at a quicker than glacial pace.
Yeah. And I'm curious to see what will happen if we're just going to sort of recycle Triangle of Madness birds for a little bit, or if
the women's
we're going to shake things up there.
Well, at some point Mercedes is coming back, and she has now dropped all of her belts except the one that's not really a belt, but that she's going to be wearing. She's going to be wearing that pink Owen belt like it's a real belt, like it's her baby. And I don't know if I said this on the pod already, but whatever. I don't fucking care. If I did, too bad. I cannot wait for there to be like a physical tug of war. Whoever is trying to tell her that like the tournament is beginning now, and
I do want that. I can picture it in my mind.
Go. Yeah. She is not going to let go, and it's going to be. I'm going to be screaming. I'm going to be jumping up and down, hooting and hollering.
Yeah.
So Mercedes, we need you back. I think of course I miss Toni Storm, but I also think it's probably good for the rest of the women's division to have some Toni free time.
Yeah.
I also think, part of the problem lies in the small size of the women's division, which we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Queen Aminata being back is great, and she has new entrance music and like a new, maybe not the music, but she has new graphics at least.
Yeah. Very fun.
So that's very exciting. And yeah, I want to see more of her. I want to see more of all the ladies, but Mercedes coming back is going to be fucking huge, and I cannot wait.
Yep. I think that might be it for this episode then. I don't really have anything about Ring of Honor because we're behind. And
here's
Bobcat.
Both of our cats are going to hop in and share. Now she's not going to say anything, but
they're wondering why we're not asleep yet because they know we're tired, and also they need to get their greenie treats.
Yeah. The bean of the week is a Rancho Gordo. They call it a cassoulet bean. It is technically a French Tarbet style bean, but I think they grow it in California, so they can't call it that. And it's in a boring but delicious turkey.
It is anything but boring. It is really good, and the beans are great, and I'm really happy we got a bean of the week.
We got a bean of the week.
All right. That's all for this episode of Chatter Machine. Thanks for joining us.
You can find us on Blue Sky and Instagram at Chatter Machine. Please email us at chattermachine@gmail.com and ask us weird questions that we can answer on the podcast, maybe. Feel free to kindly like, subscribe, and give us wonderful reviews wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube for YouTubers. Our theme song is by Sasha Enda. It's on a Creative Commons license, and for details on that, please check out the show notes.
Thanks again for listening to us ramble in our fatigued demeanor.
Don't forget to die nasty.